What's up, folks? Casual Dad here with another Warhammer Combat Cards video. It's not a Warlord guide. I don't know what I was saying there. We've got a ton to cover. Not only do we have a developer update for the end of the season, a couple notes I want to make. We also have two campaigns going on right now with the Siege of Alaitoc and the Peril and Opportunity Sync PvP with some interesting modifiers that made me build very different decks. Um, yeah, got a bunch to say. So we'll do the fairly quick patch notes and developer update real quick, and then we'll go from there. So first of all, this is the Fulgrim season upcoming starting tomorrow as of this recording in about 6 hours. And I'm sure that's just, bait and switch. Last time we got the Emperor's Children season, we didn't get a Demon Primarch, so I'm sure even though this is named the Fulgrim season, we're still not going to get a Demon Primarch, of course. New season will start on Monday, April 14th, tomorrow morning. Greetings, citizen. With a short break from the Knights, we're back in full swing into the Emperor's Children with the start of Fulgrim season. Surely, just a coincidence. We've got a Supreme Commander Fulgrim arriving. I'm sure it's got to be a different Fulgrim. Arriving on the scene with the appropriate amount of fanfare. It's a pretty cool model. I mean, what? No, I'm sorry. The thing that's not happening has a pretty cool model. Make sure to check out our next live stream for the full preview, which I will. This now leads on to the third consecutive season that has had Chaos as a focus, which is awesome. I did a video about what Chaos is missing as a faction, and they are missing some key things, right? But it's because of how the faction is built that makes it unique, that it doesn't necessarily miss those things in the same way of like just straight up misses things. It is a really interesting faction that works differently than the others. And as a lot of new cards are being added, as I'm leveling up a lot of new cards, there's a lot going on. And there are still a couple things I called out in that past video that Chaos is still actually missing. But on the whole, it's still a really powerful faction and in a way better place than it was when I started here. But yeah, let's see. So now, and with the other chosen legions of the remaining gods yet to come, so we're going to see more on the other Chaos sub-factions. That's cool. We've toned back the Chaos-specific changes somewhat this season. Yeah, so there's going to be a lot more Chaos stuff going on, so they don't want to focus just on Chaos balance changes. With the Emperor's Children cards all being brand new, that's true, no one's really playing them because they're so new, and the General Slaanesh cards being addressed in the previous season, there are just a few small changes to generic Chaos-based Marine cards this season, and the World Eater, Thousand Suns, and Death Guard changes can all wait for their upcoming seasons. Pretty pumped about that. Not just the model releases, but also the updates to the Warhammer Combat cards. So we're going to start with the balance changes. First thing is going to be Chaos, and right out of the gate, we're looking at one of the pieces that has always needed a little bit of a nudge, and that is our Iron Priest, Rapandros Malefect, whose name I've literally never read. That's embarrassing. Iron Warriors Warpsmith is going to go down 2 cost from 18 to 16, which puts him, I believe, exactly in line with this guy. No, 14. Okay, so he went down 2. So both of them are going down to make them a little bit more competitive with other Medicae and other factions. They're still on the pricey side for Medicae, but that makes sense with Chaos being a very offensive faction. You can still bring them, but they have stats that do other stuff, and they come at a premium. So you're not going to get a 4-point Medicae, but you're going to get Medicae that's not a total chump card. So as has been mentioned a couple of times, Chaos doesn't have as much easy access to utility pieces as other factions, okay? Which I think is my last video. So we're also moving the Warpsmith down in cost as another Medicae option, which, yeah, having both of those down, if you haven't played in a couple months and you had a double Medicae in your deck, that just went down by 4 points. So that's a really significant balance tweak down across the board for Chaos. Now, I rarely did double Medicae, but still, now I will. Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. Next, we have this guy right here, conveniently right there, Flenser, whose name I have read before. +6 base melee. Woof! An older Chaos card and another utility piece with target acquired. Upping the melee should help make a more impactful turn 1 strike, which this guy needs. Note that hit points. He's a melee-only character with not great hit points, even at high level here. I'm level 11. So yeah, that's definitely going to help, and he's going to hit really hard in melee at that level. I still find it a little bit hard to justify him just because he is mono melee and has that melee debuff. So even my mono melee decks, I don't run this guy in very much, but with this kind of punch, I probably will, and it's fun to have him as an option in a lot of decks because that low-cost melee target acquired is a really handy piece to be able to pull from. Let's see. Next up, we get into some of the Night Lords. And we're looking at this guy. This is Ulim the Unmerciful. Chaos Lord to jump back. He's going down 2 in cost from 36 to 34. Still on the pricey side, but with that high melee and that death blow plus that melee ready, like this guy's stats are pretty excellent for the cost. I think he's really, really good. And it gives you another option for death blow. And especially if you're doing a Abaddon deck, especially Supreme Commander Abaddon deck, that death blow will trigger your other abilities. With Skull Taker, it'll trigger the extra kills. Death blow is a really good ability with some of the Chaos Warlords, and it's not. I'll never say no to more powerful death blow. It says, as a card with Deathblow and Scout, the Chaos Lord is really aiming to be a momentum piece. Sure, yeah. With its first and last turns being the most important. Turn 1 being when it plays the Scout, and last turn being when it does Deathblow. As such, it's most useful when not consuming a large amount of deck real estate, because one of its major talents is only happens when it dies. So yeah, a drop in points should make it much more effective in that role. And then we got another interesting one, which I'm particularly excited about. All right, buddy. Harken the World Glamour getting a buff. Also -2 cost, going down from 40 to 38. So another Lord with a jump pack, as the last guy was. Harken is one of the oldest in the roster. He's in that tricky spot for an infantry model on the 40-point mark, where the big game hunter tag makes him much more vulnerable, right? But at exactly 40 points, he doesn't have the stats to counteract that penalty. Bringing his cost down out of range rather than up with significant buffs seemed to be the correct choice and should hopefully see the classic card getting more play. A discount to this guy in the Medicae is really, really good for non-Supreme Commander Abaddon decks. If you want to run a thematic Black Legion deck, this guy with that Iron Priest, the thingy we looked at first, is a really good combo. And those two both going down by a total of 4 points really helps you squeeze more into that deck, which is really hungry for extra points. So that's awesome. It is a bummer because I've been playing a lot with Hatred's Embrace, and he's now out of the range to get the bonus from Hatred's Embrace. But his attack stats were never as high as they needed to be to really be that 40-point card you put in the ladder. But that's cool. It's good to see. I think this is a good buff for Harken. It helps separate him from Karn, where for me it was Karn and Harken are like right next to each other, same cost, roughly equivalent stats, but Karn hits measurably harder, and then has that death blow instead of fear, so he's a more aggressive piece instead of a stable, like durable piece, like the fear piece. So it's cool to see that. So I think Harken's going to see a lot more play. He's seen a ton of play, but this is, I think, a really good buff. Next up, we have Servants. Always we got the Servants. We're going to start with a Knight. Let's see. With last season's Knight season, the Chaos Knights significantly outperformed the Imperial Knights. Well, they were more fun. And we're also able to field 4 Knights, including the new Warlord, Hatred's Embrace, in a 400-point deck. Yeah. As a result, we're doing an across-the-board points reduction for the Imperial Knights to hopefully make the full thematic Knight deck more fun and viable in Apocalypse and 400 points campaigns. So we're going to go ahead and filter this in reverse by cost because these are all expensive. Go to the ones we have. So we're starting with this guy, which is a card I've been wanting to level forever. I wanted that rank 3 regen. I've got it, and he got buffed last season, and I think got buffed again here. So yeah, Scythe of Mars is getting +10 melee and +10 ranged base. He's already a really good like dual attack type attacker with a lot of hit points at a decent price point. This guy's great, and I've been using him more than ever now that I've finally got that triple regen and then the buff to ranged. Like this is very exciting. So he's going to be really, really punchy. Excuse me. And that is why I haven't recorded sooner. I may have to pause in a second. Yeah, I'll pause. Hang on. Ooh. Sorry about that. You're going to hear a cough drop. I might need some time to clear. I've been fighting this sucker all week, and it's literally just a cough. Like, I feel fine otherwise, but man, it's a nasty cough. All right, cool. Yeah, thought I was on the upswing, but I'm still wrestling with that, it looks like. Okay. Scythe of Mars. Next up is an incredibly frightening card, Colossi. One of the most expensive cards in the game, hands down, and an utterly terrifying single target attacker. This guy, House Raven Knight Valiant, is going down 3 in cost, which still makes him 114, but still, that's, any discount to this thing is very impressive. And that just makes it easier to field more stuff in there. This guy's one biggest challenge is that he's still a single target attacker. For all that punch, like he's going to punch through stuff, but if you've got a shielded opponent that has a lot of health, or an endless opponent, it takes a really long time for this guy to work through it, and especially, yeah, I mean, he's hard countered by Glogothrox, but we won't even get into that. But yeah, amazing card, really fun to play, but He's held back by being the single lane attacker, no barrage, doesn't have Furious Charge or anything, but he's, yes, incredibly powerful. But I really enjoy that he can be countered by Swarm decks with like Taunt or Endless or occasionally Shields can hold this guy down, which is fun because that's one of the ways you actually beat Knights on the tabletop last time I fought against him. But yeah, and then we've got the Knight Warden. Always love the hand on this thing. That claw is so freaking cool. Goes down 3 points. So that guy actually drops below, well, it's still 109, but still, like a very, very powerful card once you get him up there. And this one is, of course, less powerful, cheaper, but has good hit points. Actually, I think he has more hit points. 540 versus 560. Yeah, the Warden has more hit points and ends up with that barrage. So he has Furious Charge and barrage and equal stats in both melee and range. This is a really interesting card if you can get him up there. And speaking of interesting cards, but again, goes down 3 points, so he goes to 109. This one is one of my new favorite cards, and I want to talk about some new cards in the game, and this is one that comes up a lot. Like, I freaking love this thing. I've talked before about how I think it's Sevastus Agaman, the Ultramarines character that attacks with both melee and range. He's got that Furious Charge precision shot combo, and I love it. And this guy has it too. He's 110 points, but he's going down 6 to 104, and he still has that balanced stats that are somewhat low for something this expensive, but man, does he hit the table with an impact. Like, it's great. And we'll see him in play in a minute. So going down to 104 from 110. Then we got the Beast Killer, another one that's held back even more than Colossi, going down 7 costs. So he goes down to 103, which, I mean, again, this still is very high, but that's still a very impressive drop. I'd like to see that on a melee-focused knight. Yeah, and with that Furious Charge Big Game Hunter, he can hit hard against opposing knights, which is kind of the point, or opposing super heavies. He's an interesting one. I like using him in the 400 points mode. Yeah, I like him. We'll just leave it there. And then we've got Gerantius, the Forgotten Knight, who's just such a cool freaking character. I really like this model. I really love this paint job. This is a great one. And he's a very ranged focused one, so the opposite of the Beast Killer. Also going down 6 in cost. So he's actually going to go below 100. He's going to go down to, what is that, 96? So still very expensive, but that Big Game Hunter, precision shot, great stats. Like, he's a fun one. I still really enjoy running him with Call, Belisarius Call. Then there's a note about Krieg models that doesn't mention anything. I think that's just a holdover from last one. Then finally we have changes to the Space Marines. Finally, we have some changes for Space Marines. As the largest faction, they always have some outliers from the general pack. The other factions are currently in fairly good shape. Woohoo! Immediately thought of Tyranids and Orcs as like doing pretty well right now. And so we're going to be left as is for this season. So Brother Augustus. I'm so sorry, folks. This one is going down 4 in cost from 70 to 66, which is, comparable. I don't run this guy because mine is fairly low level. Yeah, that's really the only reason. Otherwise, he does stuff. As a faction with lots of potent and exciting big-name characters, vehicles and dreadnoughts can often be hard to justify in comparison. When there's a lot of squeeze in deck points, the cards rarely make the cut, so a decent point introduction helps here a lot. And I mean, with Space Marines, the roster is so huge. Everyone has a favorite sub-faction, everyone has a favorite hero. It's really hard to get. It must be really frustrating to balance because I'm sure so many cards have such a low play rate that you have no idea how they actually function balance-wise, outside of more or less just guessing. So, yeah, I would be tweaking these a lot just to see it, but they've been pretty tame with the changes just to see. So, yeah. Then we're actually going to jump around in points quite a bit here. So we're going to remove this filter. And we're looking at one of the new Primaris ones that was ruthlessly mocked by the modeling community when he came out. This guy, because he's got this ridiculous orc gun. That's a Luda gun, buddy. Oh, who are you kidding? Brother Marcos, Desolation Marine, -1 cost going down to 17, and then +5 base ranged. He's an interesting one, being a cheap big game hunter. He's pretty great in a ranged Akaran deck. Otherwise, it's tough to do that because big game hunter infantry is always a little bit weird as a chaff card because you want to put them against something they're going to hit with big game hunter, and then they're almost immediately going to die. So, yeah, the points cost is nice. The range increase is nice, so that makes him even more of a glass cannon, but a little bit more of an efficient one. I honestly still don't use this because of the model and because of the level. I don't have trait rank 3. I usually avoid my cards that aren't trait rank 3 if I have other options. Yeah, as a mid-cost infantry option, the Desolation Marine doesn't stand out much, so a general buff is the best thing to help place him on more equal footing. And yeah, I mean, it's cool. I'd love to hear how people use this guy. I know he's your favorite card. Please do let me know. This next one, this guy has been in the game forever, but I always forget about him because his art changed not too long ago. That's this guy right here, Glaucus. Cracks me up. His name is Glaucus. This guy used to be an Ultramarine and was changed to a Raven Guard some seasons back, going down -2 cost from 19 to 17. Also pretty good. He's still one that I reach for a lot because the outflank for the cost and stats, he's actually got a really, really high ranged attack base, which makes him a really great filler piece for Tolmaron decks, and he's just very good in Acheron decks if you're doing ranged ones just as a place to fill in points. And that's going to be even better with the -2 cost. It says a more expensive mid-cost ranged option and one of the starting cards for the game. Wow, he's really old. The suppressor has been outstripped in value over the years, and bringing the cost down puts him in line with lots of other comparable choices. Yeah, so he's one that most players have. Most players will have him at a decent level. Yeah, so he's in play, and I still use him. Next up, we had actually a pretty big surprise. I didn't see this change coming, especially not to this character. We're looking at a tweak to Tolmaron himself. Brother Lieutenant Tolmaron going down 2 points, so he's going to be 18 points, being by far the cheapest Space Marine Warlord, and up there with one of the cheapest Warlords in the entire game. Like if we wipe this out, was that 18? Yeah, he will stay in the same spot. He's not going to be cheaper than either of the others, but still like comfortably there. Cheaper than the Corpse Lord, who's actually been doing pretty well recently. Lieutenant Tolmaron is a classic warlord that always performs solidly, so no changes needed to his rule, but overall is probably stat for stat one of the weakest warlords at his cost value, which I actually like a lot because Tolmaron decks are tough to get through, and they put out so much damage and so much firepower that usually your only hope is pulling Tolmaron and punching him squarely in the jaw. So while this is a great buff to Tolmaron decks, and I appreciate that it didn't stat him up, yeah, I'm a little concerned about facing Tolmaron decks this upcoming season. As such, he's getting a little touch up to his stats. It's interesting. So it looks like there was another proposed change here, actually, and the wording, I'm curious to see what actually comes out, because the text here mentions his stats. Touch up to wound, let's see, wounds, slight increase to melee. Yeah, but then the Oracle text under the card himself says -2 cost. So I'm actually curious if this is going to be a cost change or a stats change or both. Yeah, we'll see. So we'll look for that tomorrow. I'll see which one that ends up being and maybe make a post about it. And then we have cards added to the general pool. We've got this, the Parasite thing, the little poison one that I don't have. The only poison card in Necrons, the Malignant Parasite. This guy is being added to the general pool. For Tau, we get those sweet orange Vespids. And let's see. I guess they're all orange now. I'm actually not seeing the ones I don't have, but the orange Vespids from that Vespid kill team are getting added. FW5, FW4, FW3. Weird. I wonder what they're getting named. MV44-5, the Stingwing Oversight Drone. All of those are coming into it, which is pretty freaking exciting. I really like those. They're really cool mechanically. They're really interesting for what they add to the game. I believe one of them is poison as well. Yeah, and then for Space Marines, we get Samael, Master of the Ravenwing. Do I not have him? Probably don't. I don't. Ooh, okay. So we got Samael out of the pool. We got Lemartes, Guardian of the Lost, the chaplain himself. I'm so pumped for that. I did that focus reward pack, really hoping to get him, and I didn't. So then we get Orton Cassius. This is adding some of the really, really classic, really old school Space Marines characters to the roster, and I'm super pumped. I was really excited when these were added to the game, and I've been missing being able to play them. Then we got some of the other Blood Angels, especially the Death Company Marines. We got Brother Mataneo. We got him too. So Captain Leonid, and then Mataneo is the Sword Boy. Up quite a ways. Not that one. Ezio is amazing. This guy. So that guy's being added, Mataneo. And then Cavistar, the unhelmeted guy with the iron halo. I may actually not have. You know what? Let's do this. Okay, I do have him somewhere. Yeah, this guy. Cavistar, and then I've got Ravini. Where are you, Ravini? He's the bolter guy. That one, yeah. And this one I'm really interested in because of Berserk Ranged Marine. Very excited. These are guys I'd love to play, love to figure out ways to buff up their stats to make them just really, really good. So yeah, I want to run a full like Death Company infantry army, and you can see I'm inching my stats up, but they're still down from where I can actually do that. That's gonna be fun. I haven't decided what warlord yet. Probably Azrael, because they have balanced stats and get stronger over time, which plays into Azrael's trait. Then we got Furion, who's very much like Ezio, but a little bit punchier with no ranged attack. Oh, and actually doesn't have Berserk. And then we've got the Venaro, this scary thing. And then for servants, we just talked about some of these. So first one is that Hound Sinister, that Knight Warden, the green knight that I was looking at before. And then we've got Tadius the Purifier, the coolest bishop hat ever put in the game. There are actually several of those, but we're looking at this one. Tadius the Purifier. And then we got Inquisitor Ostromandius. This one, also very cool. Another Omni attacker. Like, I am pretty pumped about that. There's all kinds of interesting stuff you can do with that. Especially with shields and Big Game Hunter. Like, oh man. Oh man. Yeah. And on that note, we're going to jump to other stuff. Before I jump out of the balance changes, I wanted to take a minute to shout out the other YouTuber, Shintobean, who I actually met through this because he was another YouTuber doing Warhammer combat cards long before I did. And yeah, just a really, really amazing dude. I've really enjoyed getting to know him and getting to collaborate with him a little bit. But he made an announcement over late last week saying that he is really pulling back from this, kind of working on that balance in his life and getting less screen time, which means he's going to be doing and covering quite a bit less Warhammer combat cards. So his voice will be missed in this space. But we're still going to hang out virtually. It's going to be fun. Really like the guy. Glad I've met him. Excited for him. It sounds like he's making a healthy choice for himself and what totally makes sense for him. I applaud him for it. But I still do think we're going to miss him and wanted to make sure that I mentioned that before we move on to anything else because he's a really good dude. So, all right, going on to the next one. We're going to jump into the campaigns. I'm going to actually go ahead and start with the Siege of Alaitoc because I've been playing an interesting game and a couple things I really like about this deck. It's Supreme Commander Vol. But talking about a couple newer cards that have really stood out as super fun and a lot cooler than I expected on launch, or cooler than I fully realized seeing them at first. This guy is so much fun. The max shield, so like the primary trait shield, secondary trait, regen on an epic in a Vol deck is so much fun. He's just really, really cool, and he feels like he'd be really good in a Trajan, Supreme Commander Trajan deck. He'd be a really awesome piece in there because of that ability to both tank a lot of damage and get the bonus attack as long as possible, and then regen to kind of top him off so he stays in that aggressive range and also just takes forever to take down. Like this sucker has a lot of hit points for the cost. Like he's really good. And I was a little bit like at first, and now seeing him in battle, like he's one of the first cards I'll reach to in max level campaigns. And then of course this guy I mentioned really loving. This is fun. Let's play a game and let's see if we can see that Furious Charge and Precision Chop trigger here. I'm pretty late in this campaign track, so this could be a challenging matchup. We'll see. But being a Supreme Commander Vol who cheats a little bit, it goes pretty well. So I've got a bunch of wins to complete the track for this campaign. I may not do it to get to that non-Supreme Commander Vol reward card. I want to do at least one game of this on this recording while I'm doing it, and then I want to do at least one PvP match. And we'll see how long that is. Depending on the length there, I don't want to stay up too late, but I did want to go ahead and talk about what games are going on now, because usually I miss them. Usually I do the balance changes. I don't have time to actually do some of the play at the end. And I do have a quick stop in the competitive ladder, actually, before I close for the night. Let's see here. I'm already kind of, oh. All right, we're going to do that. So I wanted to play my aggressive knight as early as possible, but let's not do anything foolish. Ooh. There we go. Got that miracle off. We got the miracle set. We're going to do melee on this, of course. And I can bring the speed down, but we've got a lot to play. The game is going to be really slow. Ooh, nice. See those miracles popping off all over the place. The game is going to be really slow when I do, it's time, Fury. PvP. So let's go ahead and do these ones fast. And you see both of these, he's going to pop in here. Well, we'll see how that goes. He's going to pop in here and kill Baharoth, and then I should be able to take out Jane Zar here as well. But that's, especially at this level of play, especially against a warlord like Rakarth, who's healing his cards as you play, being able to do that much damage on the drop is massive. To clear a card in front of you and then hit something to either lane twice helps for clearing shields, helps for clearing Akaran lives, helps for taking care of all kinds of stuff. Like, it's really, really good. Let me take a quick pause here. All right, we're good. So we just, I'm sorry, I just missed the animation of that unpause. I wasn't sure when that was going to go. But yeah, so you see that Furious Charge. I forget which one it was. Precision Shot killed Baharoth, and the Furious Charge hit Jane Zar. Doesn't matter in this matchup, but it can. Ah, man, barring a miracle. I shouldn't do range though, because I don't want this thing to. There it is. I was really hoping that I'd get a miracle, so I didn't have just those 2 hit points lingering on Jane Zar. Oh, yuck. That is how you lose this thing. But yeah, oh, yikes. The sheer amount of cheating that Supreme Commander Vol does over the course of the game is just insane. Like, those miracles trigger at the best times. They don't always trigger. Sometimes they'll let you down, but when they do, it's pretty incredible. Yeah, like we got, oh, nope, that one's not going to save anyone. I got to watch out for this thing. Give me more miracles over here. Nice. And there, that defensive miracle was great. It could have triggered one trigger later on that Psionic Blast, but that it triggered on this thing was incredibly helpful. But you can see in this, with this campaign, I'm still having a really hard time chewing through some of the biggest cards. Like, these two are very hard to kill. And barring a miracle, I may... Oh, nice. Do I do that? I want to kill that. Miracle! It's a miracle! Freaking Vol. I love Supreme Commander Vol, especially for campaigns, because I feel a little bit less bad at cheesing the campaigns, because the campaigns are crazy, especially at higher level, even on this one. So having that Supreme Commander Vol trigger is kind of great. And yeah. Oh, yeah, I saw that. There were a bunch of times there where they're key Vol triggers. I probably could have pulled it out if they'd been a little bit less favorable, but there were some really good ones there. Enjoy this guy. I want to get that rank 3 regen, so I'm enjoying playing this a bit. I'm probably not going to get there, but we'll see. We'll give it a try. And then this guy is cool. I love any Votann card, so I've been really enjoying that. And that another precision shot is really, really good for Alaitoc. And Alaitoc is by far my favorite Votann warlord. So let's take a look at PvP. I've got 2 more rounds to do to finish the reward track. And they let my girl Lilith out of the box. So we're going to start with her. And then hopefully I'm going to get to play one more. Yeah, Lilith is an insane warlord. And for... Oh, Call. Yikes. Okay. It's been a lot of Call. There's been a lot of Captain Akaran. Call still feels like a problematic warlord. But the modifier on this one is everybody starts with a fraction of their wounds. So healing warlords are really, really helpful. Healing, like regen, bodyguards are really helpful. Shields are really good. All of the sort of things you'd expect to help keep your cards alive a little bit longer than your opponent are really great. If Romeo times out, I'll be very pleased because I don't particularly want to show another Call fight. I welcome the challenge to beat Call, but the games are still a little bit frustrating. And I don't honestly know how to fix that, because he had the nerf where the numbers went down, so his healing and damage dealt through shields is lower, which is good, but it still is just a frustrating combination of you can't do anything against it. He's hitting you at both ends in a really obnoxious way, where every single card he's got heals every turn. Every single thing he does punches through fear, shields, and taunt. Especially being able to take something like Psionic Blast, like it's yeah. I don't know that how I would balance it. Like, even thinking about it, because you don't want to fundamentally change the rule completely. Maybe you do. I don't know. I would think something like you can't do Psionic Blast, something like that, like non-psychic attack. So you could just add an addendum in there that the ability punches through things only if it's for a melee or ranged attack. That would be a way to kind of address this, so you remove some of the worst parts of it. You still have to deal with the heavy barrage cards, but what that does is it takes Call's power away from some of the pieces that are the most obnoxious, the like no counterattack Sonic Blasts, while still leaving the really power pieces like the barrage. He still would be an incredibly powerful warlord, even if the percentages weren't changed. But I think that could help a lot, because that would also mean that you can counteract him with psychic decks. So I think overall that would be a really, really good way to change it without changing him completely. It would be a dramatic nerf to specific deck builds without overall nerfing Call himself. If other folks out there play Call a lot and think that that would just kill him, like, sure, go ahead. But the things that Psionic Blast deals with, Call's ability already deals with just fine. So, like, you punch through shields already, you punch through fear already. You don't need that Psionic Blast utility. It's only really used because it does extra damage with Call and on cards that it stay alive really well. So, yeah, I'm glad we had this talk about Call while we're not playing the game. Double Medicaid, great. Go ahead and pop there. Which, if there was or is a human playing that, not going to work there. I haven't actually had a ton of people timing out in the PvP, but it's not really surprising this would be happening late in the night. Yeah. Man, I'm sorry for all the sniffles. We'll get out of that. I've got a lot more. I've got a bunch more stuff to talk about. A lot of X-Wing, but then also some Warhammer combat cards. And there's a few things I want to review from the past week, too. Munch. It is funny. I feel like the timeouts are really fast, like you don't have time to really adapt to it. But when it comes to that opening deploy, it feels like a really long time. I think it is well done to go ahead and, like, it's not bad to wait out someone's timer. I get to enjoy the lovely artwork on the sides of the board here. I will take it. So there we go. So just in case the other one is just a runaway win like that, let me go ahead and show a couple of the decks that are built specific for this modifier, just to go ahead and show them. Because I really enjoyed this PvP modifier. It really did change what I was building for and how I was building my decks, just because that reduction in hit points was huge. And it really did negate the advantages of a lot of the most common PvP warlords. I'm still seeing a lot of Acheron, but it's not anywhere near as scary. Seeing a lot more Call, because he seems to adapt to it well with the healing, but there are other warlords that, nice. Got that even before I got the card drop. Heck yeah. Yeah. But wait, let's actually look back at the modifier first. Anytime now. And the Lilith deck is heavily melee. It's focused on cards that either have a bunch of hit points already or don't mind losing them. So you've got your Solitaire is just a super glass cannon. You got your Medicaid to help keep everyone healthy. These two just have big wound pools for the cost. Inspiring Presence is good to help you punch through stuff before your stuff dies. Shields really help deal with the reduced wounds. Target Acquired really helps clear out some problematic opposing cards, and then I just had the points left over and got a little extra Inspiring Presence. Yeah, so the modifier is max level. You get 225 deck points, so it is a little bit of a bigger deck than normal, and it's minus 70% wounds. And then this, the Tormentor's Toxin. The combination of these two means your cards start weak and die real fast, which actually is kind of a balance to Call, because it does mean that he usually has cards that are auto-attacking. And if a card does Psionic Blast, it takes damage, and then if it attacks again, it takes damage twice in that turn. So it makes it a lot harder for the healing to keep up. So the matches are still tough, but not as much as they would be in other modifiers. So that was cool. So there's my Lilith deck. Another one I've really enjoyed. I did play some Canoness. It didn't actually work out as well as I hoped. I enjoyed Ahriman. So his ability to just do the random spray damage across the board was particularly fun with this modifier, because he's able to keep your own cards alive and also take out weaker enemy cards. So it's a lot more impactful. So this is a more offensive take on this, where if your opponent has fewer wounds, then anything that will auto wound them is better. So of course you got your Lord of Change, you got some poison, you got a little barrage or Psionic Blast, excuse me, and then you got some Medicaid and Taunt, and then a little fear in here. All of this to give you some of the extra durability to outlast your opponent. And this was a really fun one to play. Because of the randomness of Ahriman's trait, it's not super consistent, but it's a good one to still try. And then shout out to my buddy the Flyrant, one of the usually passed over and less than good warlords, especially in PvP. This modifier was really good for him. Very solid taunts and Medicaids in here help kind of keep these heavy psychers in there, and then the combination of Psionic Blast, Barrage, Fear, and the Flyrant's own ability made this actually very, very good at clearing opposing cards very quickly. And all four of those also really good against Acheron and Call, because they just keep the pressure on so the healing is reduced, or they'll take out those extra lives so stuff doesn't come back. This was fun, and normally I would not take the Flyrant in PvP, although after this experience I might do it again. I did bring a Supreme Commander Vol and played that a fair bit. That was fun. Trying to think what else I played. So I know I played a Servants one that was crazy. I want to say it was Magus, our base 17-point Magus. Of course, the healing is really good. Yeah, there it is. The healing is really helpful in this modifier. And add that with a lot of cheap taunt and chaff cards to pump up your other stuff. And then some berserk. Like this guy goes off the rails. Let me actually play this one. Iron Hand Strachan is really fun with this modifier because he's just healing and gaining extra attack just nonstop. Just especially with the Magus, like the stock Magus, because you've got all this stuff to charge him up, and nobody wants to deal with him. So it's been fun. And none of these decks I've talked about have been 100%, except maybe the Lilith one. I don't remember losing a game with Lilith. And she's not playing into the modifier directly in terms of the deck build, but her ability to redeploy cards to your hand triggers before the Tormentor's Toxin. So your card attacks, kills an opposing card, it's pulled to your hand before it takes that friendly damage, which is nice, especially with the Solitaire, because he could be on lethal damage, and you could choose when he goes off. So you get that last attack, he's on like 3 hit points, you have him kill something, and then he pops back to your hand, so you can redeploy him and have his death blow be more impactful later. So he'll get an extra Furious Charge, and then you can put his death blow somewhere where it's going to be really, really good. Nice. Okay. That is a little bit of a bummer to go up against Alaitoc. We'll see how this goes. I will have at least one safe place to deploy once that guy's moved over. And that is a challenge about deploying first. Okay, cool. So if I put a bodyguard over here, he has no way to get that null vortex over there until after this deploy. So next deploy you can do it, but not this one. And one of the cool things about this matchup is the Magus's ability triggers even if, like whether the card I place has null on it or not. But that is going to be a bummer if he manages to null one of my endless cards. All right. Let's pop something in here that's not going to mind if he nulls it with his next deploy. And Alaitoc, I think, is always, man, nose. Alaitoc is always a great pick in PvP because there's always a key time when you want to take out a key trait. Like I could take out that death blow, take out one of these shields. So it's really good to have. And I really enjoy a couple things about the characters I mentioned. So Armon and the Flyrant, in combination with Tormentor's Toxin, are really good at killing shielded cards before the shields go down. So every time they attack, they're taking damage. Every time they get hit by the Flyrant, it goes under shields. They get hit by poison, goes under shields. Armon straight damage goes under shields. So you're seeing a lot of shields in this PvP campaign. And there's a lot of really cool mechanics to get under those that work best because they start with reduced hit points. Normally, it would still take too long for that to actually trigger. So there, I hit the death blow and then had that self damage from attacking. So shields are actually nowhere near as good in this particular modifier as they normally are. They're still really good, obviously, because non-shielded cards are just weaker, but they're more counterable, which has made it a lot of fun. Because shield and fear spam can be a big problem in PvP, and it's been cool to see this modifier, this combination of modifiers, circumventing that. So that's cool. Yeah. He doesn't really care if he's nulled. He does. Let's hit him again. Ouch. Clearing some shields, and these guys are just taking extra damage there, and my guys are healing up. And so, yeah, 4 shields is a lot, so I'm really glad that this combination of modifiers does make shields a little bit weaker. So far, we're trading cards consistently, but these guys are about to just kill themselves. Excuse me. And mine are still very strong, and the only cards he's taken out have been my chaff cards. But more importantly, I'm forcing him to redeploy cards on his turn while I have a missing slot. So I'm able to respond to his deploys and move things around to make sure that the stuff that gets null vortexed isn't what I don't want to get null vortexed. So like there, yikes. That's actually a tough call. We'll do this. It's a bummer to lose the extra copy, but see, and he doesn't do that much range damage. Oh, and it's his turn. Shoot. Okay. Yeah, that was intentional. I wonder if it might have been better to leave this guy in there, but I didn't. And you can see how squishy those guys are getting under the shields. Like they're really hurting here. So the reason I did that is so that this guy can die, so that these guys will heal up a little bit. It's not going to be enough to really make a difference, but just that little bit. I took out both shielded cards now, and then this guy now can't be null vortex to remove the second copy because he already played it. That was actually very lucky. I didn't do the math fully that was going to work, so I'm glad it did. Yeah, so I got the extra copy before the null vortex took it away, got some healing on these guys, and took out both of those two. I'm still running out of steam. I've only got 3 cards left in the deck, and I don't really like the Magus against Alaitoc as a one-on-one. I think Alaitoc has the edge there, so I'm hoping he doesn't have too much good stuff in there. We'll see. That's a bummer. Dun dun dun. And that's a bummer, but that implies there's not anything too scary in there. And I don't think that was the right call. Personally, I would have put the healer the next lane over so that the shielded guy in the middle would be able to take out the... Well, I guess that worked out. Now here I really need to play cautiously. And when this guy hits back, he's almost going to kill him. Yeah, so next turn he's going to die. Unless he doesn't do a ranged or melee attack. This still is a really tight match, and he may have me here. But we'll see. And the biggest reason he's going to have me is because the Magus is a pretty terrible endgame piece. Alaitoc isn't great either, but he's better than the Magus. Unless I have a lane on him with one of these guys in it, especially Strachan. If he can build up a bit of an attack and have a clear lane to hit Alaitoc, I'll win it. But he still has 1 extra bodyguard in the tank, so these guys really have to pull their weight. Good start. It's not a good start. That was actually a very bad start. Now, if he puts this in the middle, I'm pretty much toast. I'm pretty much toast either way. This doesn't look good. So let's play this out. If I'm spectacularly lucky, he gets cocky and plays Alaitoc. Well, no, either way, he gets spectacularly lucky. He puts something in the middle that can't kill the Magus, like that. This guy's attack and this guy's attack take that out. And I'm able to survive a turn, which is pretty unlikely. Because if he takes out this flank, which seems very likely, I'm in trouble. I wanted to play him early, didn't get the card draw, but also he played very well over there. So we're gonna punch it, and then we'll give Alaitoc the death blow here. To the victor go the spoils, warlord. But you can kind of see how I built the deck to go around and play into this modifier. And this is one of the first decks I built because I was like, what has a bunch of regen and a bunch of berserk that will help me heal and give me a lot of points to play with? Magus, hands down. You can do something very similar with Supreme Commander Vol and it could work. But in a matchup like this one, you saw how many shields there were. I need a way to get through those. And so I think I'm actually going to try the Flyrant next, and we'll see if I can close this out. This safe choice, just in case. But Alaitoc will comfortably take out the Magus. Yeah, there we go. Very good. Well played. Okay, we'll do one more. I'm going to go ahead and do the Flyrant deck, just to go ahead and show that off. Actually going to appreciate that, because I made sure I got this guy. Oh my god, the snot. No, it's not even snot. If it was snot, I could kind of deal with and understand. It's just congestion. Like my nose is not relaxing. It's a very stressed nose. I have to work on this. I need to take it to a spa. Apologize for the bit. I'm sort of stuck now and I have to go with it. So we're going to go ahead and bust out the Flyrant, and I'll show you what this looks like in the fight. And again, none of my decks have been 100%. Most of them have had some sort of win and loss ratio. Yeah. But yeah, it's been fun. They've been better than usual. I think I have been playing into the modifier pretty aggressively, and a lot of players have been trying to figure it out. Rather, a lot of players have been playing the stuff that works normally in PvP. The same things you would always do in PvP and not really adjusting to the modifier. And this is the first PvP campaign that I remember where you have to, where it distinctly disadvantages some of the more standard PvP playstyles. It's pretty cool. It's a really experimental one. Whoever designed this one, props. It's cool. Hopefully we get one more played match. But I'm going to call it after this point. Either way, we'll go ahead and see. Excited about the... Oh, I have one more note after this game, so hopefully this goes through, or maybe we'll time out. We'll see. Error. We'll try one more time. Yeah, we'll see. So I did have one, to go ahead and talk about it and go ahead and prime this a little bit in case this times out on me again. I had one more big thing I wanted to go ahead and highlight for this season, because I tried an experiment and I had a really good time. It was super fun, and I'm proud of where it went. So, not okay against Logan. Yikes. And that's another case where that feels like it's probably built to the modifier. We've got a ton of hit points and regen. And we've got a Warlord who can punch through shields. So really good call going Logan in this one. I hadn't thought of that. Good job, Viper Boy. I like your style. Ooh, yuck. Okay. Boop. A little taunt in there and ruin your day. That's a whole lot of melee. It doesn't have a lot of cards in there. So with my defensive stuff and double Medicaid, this is a very favorable match for me. But I am still concerned. He's going to hit me really hard, and we'll just have to see how much damage actually bleeds through into my Neuro Tyrant. Ooh, a lot. Actually, not really much. So I did that on purpose, where I positioned the taunt so that it would take out the leftmost card and give as little overflow damage as possible to my this guy, because this thing is really important. You want to keep this alive as long as possible. It's such a good card. My God. And I'm not really feeling putting this guy here. I'm doing that to reduce Astorath's overall attack value. I maybe should have put him in the middle because it's also reducing his attack value. And this sucker has a lot of power. We see how much damage he took right there. It's the reduced hit points plus all the pressure I've got in here is going to just negate this taunt. So he's got taunt in here to keep these heavy hitters alive while he gets through my cards, but I'm playing a very, very aggressive list that doesn't care. I shouldn't say it doesn't care, but it doesn't mind that he's trying to sort of keep stuff over like this. Now, the one downside of this, though, is that he's not attacking me with Psychic. So I'm not doing any of the extra damage to him when he's attacking me on my turn, which puts me a little bit on the back foot during his turns, because that gives him a lot more control of how he plays what and when. Interesting. Okay. And now I do have decent options here. We're going to go ahead and go with this. Now here's the consideration here. So when he kills this, it's going to do overflow damage to the middle. And I have to figure out if it's more likely to, well, I mean, mostly I'm holding this down. So I'm going to do a bunch of Psychic. And I'm going to have to hit this thing really, really hard. With the plus side being that it also, or that Logan is hitting himself too. But the question is, will the taunt go down before, how early will the taunt go down? Like how much damage is the Flyrant about to take? I might just lose this outright. So if this dies to him, that's kind of better. And if he doesn't have a toe, oh boy, that's a bummer. Okay. I think I'm dead. Yep. Yep, the double damage got me. Oof, man, Logan, good job. Okay, so I'm going to go to my quick tangent. I'm going to look at something else real quick, and then I'll pop back to that with my final deck, and we'll see here. So I had a lot of fun this season. I tested out the knights, uh, and I need to go back and test the Imperial Knight because I really had a lot of fun with the Chaos one. Um, and this is where I wound up here, 3137. I was at 3350 at peak. That was the highest I got with Chaos, and I was running almost exclusively, especially at the upper end. Like once I hit 2800 or so, I was only using Hatred's Embrace with this deck right here. This crazy weird deck has been incredibly effective. I'm going to play it once just to go ahead and show it. And I've already showed it in my previous videos, but it's just, I really like it. And because of this, I actually went into this PvP campaign starting playing as Hatred's Embrace, and my god, is it awful with those modifiers. Because Hatred's Embrace just constantly kills himself. Constantly does all the damage in the world to kill himself. Okay. And that is even with the extra deck points. Okay, so here I have truly terrible options. But I want to poison those to make some extra momentum here. So why did I do this? Bye. So you can just see that absolutely insane damage out of the gate. Like I just wiped out both of those cards with my one deploy of Karn. He does so much to clear waves, and he's still alive. Um, yeah. So, and that hurt. But here's the thing. So I just lost Karn, but I don't really care because I still have Hatred's Embrace to finish this out. And he is comfortably a match for anything that Artemis can dish out. Although with that, oh no, and so this Artemis isn't even high enough damage, or isn't even, so like look at that. Had he been a high enough level to have the dead shot to focus everything into Hatred's Embrace, that could have been a lot different. But even then, Hatred's Embrace's attack stats are so high that I took down more than half his health in the return fire. And then my Sonic Blast took him down, and that's at level 4. This is level 4. And he's just punching this hard. So like this has basically been my experience this season where I go in really hard, do some poison, and Karn takes out 3 bodyguards, maybe 4. And then Hatred's Embrace goes in, and I'm like, oh, I've lost this one. And then when he gets 1-on-1 with the opposing Warlord, he's so good at closing out the game. You just saw basically the experience all the way up there. And now I think I'm back to 3182. So I had a lot of fun with that. Got comfortably over 3K. And if you watched my Lion challenge not too long ago, the Hatred's Embrace challenge was dramatically easier. Dramatically easier than the Lion. So even with that weird deck. So yeah, if you have him, if you want to experiment, I really recommend that because it was really fun. I don't really enjoy him in Apocalypse because it's just not as interesting. But that Razor's Edge kind of gameplay in the ladder, it was so satisfying. And like getting up there, like I've loved every minute of that challenge for myself. So we're going there. We're gonna do one more PvP game. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get Lilith to load, and that would be Poetic, because Lilith is my girl. I love this warlord. She's so much fun, and to have a PvP campaign where you can play as Lilith is always a treat. And to have her be really good, especially with this modifier, is very satisfying. And then I will call it. That'll be it. Appreciate you being with me as always. If you didn't see my post earlier, my humble little channel just had the official milestone of 10,000 hours of watch time. So somehow across the whole world, 10,000 like people have watched my content for 10,000 hours. That is a mind-boggling number. Yeah, which is cool. So I'm glad folks enjoy the content. I'm glad folks have been watching the videos. Hopefully it keeps going. I want to keep up my multiple niches. Just to go ahead and say it, I would love to keep doing Warhammer combat cards, at least at the rate I've been doing. I get really excited about stuff and talk to longer, more frequent videos. Obviously, my primary focus is going to switch to X-Wing, which I'm super stoked about. It's been very cool. A lot of exciting stuff happening there, but I will always love Warhammer, and really one of the best ways I can experience Warhammer right now is like this, because I can't get out and play right now, although that may change soon. and this is good. I've been finishing up it's against Call again. Dang. I've been finishing up a reread of Aaron Dembski-Bowden's Betrayer, which is the sequel. It's one of the Horus Heresy books. It's the sequel to the first Heretic, and it follows Karn, um, Karn the Betrayer, and Argel Tal, the chosen of the Vakra Jal, the like elite soldiers of the Word Bearers. And it's just a really, really interesting, like really well written book. I love those books. Love Aaron Dembski-Bowden's writings. Writings is weird. His portrayals of Lorgar and Angron are so good, and like the Word Bearers and the World Eaters are subfactions that I've always said like I don't give a flying f about these guys. I hate them. They suck. They're just evil jerks. Um, and just reading all of this through their perspective, like, and especially Karn and Argyltal together are like two of the characters most aware of how messed up the heresy actually is and how wrong, not exactly wrong, but like they're so aware of the decisions that got them to the point they are, and they're incredibly loyal to their brothers and their chapters, to their primarchs. Um, and they both have different, very jaded perspectives on the universe and the whole like Warhammer Galaxy. Like it's really interesting to see the way that that's presented. This is gonna be good. Oh yeah, the way that that's presented in the book, and especially like Angron's relationship with the world leaders, is so fascinating. Um, you get a lot less of Lorgar's relationship with the word bearers, but you get a lot of Argel Tal's struggles as the first possessed Marine, dealing with having a demon in his soul. And this whole thing with like the word bearers' whole deal is like they were followers of the truth. Their whole thing was like, whatever the true fabric of the universe is, we're going to devote ourselves to that. And in the Warhammer 40k universe, they've come into that with like, oh, it's a nightmarish hellscape full of demons and monsters. Like we're pursuing our sacred duty, and this is what it's led us to. And there's very like incredibly jaded but very telling conversations that are just like so good. They're so good. I know it's Warhammer, essentially fan fiction. If it wasn't officially stamped by Black Library, it would be fan fiction. But God, it's good. And I really love Aaron Dembski-Bowden's writing. Yeah, especially on these ones. So I was like looking at this book, this little soft cover, like I'm not going to keep this book. I'm going to read it one more time before I move, and then I'm just going to give it away lovingly. And instead, I'm like dog-earing corners to go back to individual passages. Like this is never leaving me. So shout out again, as always, I will shout him out to the ends of the earth. Aaron Dembski-Bowden, such a phenomenal writer. I love his stuff. Everything he writes can get me pretty much every time. And you can see this Lilith stuff pulling off pretty well. You see the Solitaire really doing some work on the edges here and just clearing opposing cards. You saw that precision shot taking out, not precision shot, target acquired, taking out one of the Psionic Blast Psychers early. I've chewed through his Medicae. This still is going to be pretty close, which most of the games are, but I think I have this. It really depends on how much taunt he has saved in there and what other power cards he's got in there. Because once I take this guy down, I have a lot less to be worried about. He's already dropped some Medicae. He's already dropped some not cheap pieces, and that was a poor choice. That is comfortably going to blow up and kill that. And then this guy should be comfortably able to, oh, well, that's unfortunate. He can kill this straight through the shield. And that's a bummer. Like, we talked a little bit about Call and how, like, problematic some of his stuff is. And one of the big ones is that he can just kill this outright. Like, against any other warlord, I would have been able to tank that. But, you know, c'est la vie. 40-40. It is cool to see the Mechanicum guys in here. So this is somebody that likes his Adeptus Mechanicus, so he may be running a more thematic and maybe less fine-tuned deck than some of the others I could have run into. But with the points I've already seen played at 225 deck points, he doesn't have a ton else in there. And that's not going to save him. Who is higher? We got 71, we got 73. We'll see if that's enough to take this guy out. This will be enough to take this guy out, especially because he will attack back. That should be enough to take him out. And getting to redeploy these should help a lot. Yup. So I didn't get him, but when he goes Psionic Blast, he's gonna die. But will it be enough? Will Lilith have enough to take down Call, who is not infantry? So anti-infantry is not going to trigger, but he also almost certainly won't do enough damage himself to take her down. And I will have at least one open flank because of this guy. And probably do some damage to him on his turn. We'll see how he reacts to that. He should move this guy and put something tougher here so this guy can't shoot in. But we'll see what else he's got and what he does. Okay, oh, nuts. That was a smart play. Oh man, okay. I may have this, but if I do, man, it's going to be close. So Psionic Blast kills. Oh, he healed. That's right. Oh man, okay. Ick. And there's that is the toughest thing about Call in his rule set, right? I don't want to rant about Call all the time, but the most damning thing that Supreme Commander Call does is he takes away the close game. Like if you're having a close game, he's like, our game is close. No, it's not. Whereas with any other warlord, you'd be like, oh, this is close. Oh, this is good. Oh, whereas with Call, it's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. He does extra damage and he heals more. Okay, cool. So um, he widens the gap between a close game and a not close game at the most painful kind of moments to the point where it's just not fun. And that's sort of the worst part about it is not necessarily that the rule's really strong. It's just not fun. Like there, I was like, oh, look, he's got 3 hit points. He's going to die. The mechanics, da-da-da. And then it just robbed me. And robbed is the wrong term. It's just like it took away all of the excitement and fun in that moment. And it could have been any other Medicae, sure. But the way that Call does it every single turn of the entire game is just like it sucks. And that's sad. But it is funny. One of the things Shintobean said in his short video he put up last week where he was talking about not doing this anymore was talking about how dramatically the game has improved over the years that we have both played it. And it's crazy. And like you said, anybody who played it like 5 years ago would not recognize the game today. Speed modifiers, PvP modifiers, all of this variety of warlords and bodyguards, all these cool abilities, super heavies, double traits, apocalypse mode, the changes to PvP, like an extra faction. So many things have happened. So many cool things have happened. This game has grown so much over the years. That's really cool. And what he said helped remind me of that. And also just thinking about the good stuff reminded me of that too. So like there's some really great stuff here. This is the first Dark Strider I've seen in this campaign, or this PvP, and we'll see how this goes. I have done my sacred duty as a Warhammer Combat Cards player in PvP, and I've fed several people some wins to help do their reward track. So this is my turn to kick somebody in the shins. Let's get him. Interesting. Interesting move. And this really works in my favor, being a very heavily melee deck. That he's pure ranged. And so I have a little shooting back, but it's mostly melee. If I were to tweak this deck, I would probably do things a little bit more Lilith specific because I have a bunch of cards that don't have a Battlecry ability. And I can probably tweak that to where I can get a little bit more utility out of that. These two you can see doing a ton of work. This guy's got a great combination of hit points and stats. That worked out. Modifier for the win. And that's the thing too, like talking about the classic PvP things, like this modifier, Tormentor's Toxin with reduced hit points. Like, you play Darkstrider, you don't expect your stuff to kill itself on the drop. That doesn't happen. But there, 2 cards died because of shooting. Like, that's nuts. Just going through it. Ooh, gnarly. And I just handed him the ability to take out 1 shield, but not 2. Had I played this guy in the middle, the barrage and that would have hit the shielded card, where what I did, only the barrage hit him. And that guy, forcing him to die, did give me a clear shot on this guy. Yeah, Warwicky. Warwick 142. Like you, buddy, but you have not played this modifier very much. Yeah, you really got to choose when you're getting your bonus attacks. He's just chainsawing through his own stuff here. Darkstrider is a tough choice. I don't know how I would get Darkstrider to work in this. This can be good for someone like oh, what's his face? The healing one. Farsight. This could be a really good campaign for Farsight because he could heal up some of your power pieces late game. But you'd have to really time that well and have it work out for you. And especially the power pieces you'd be healing probably will have been killing themselves the whole game up until that point. So yeah, we're going to mess this up because he's going to shoot me and then my Solitaire is going to take out half his line and his self-damage is going to take out the rest. But I think I'm about to get my Grotesque back to my hand. Bloop. Ooh, that was a lot of damage. And this guy didn't even get to attack back, which saved his butt. We get Darkstrider. I don't think Lilith is going to get this guy, because this guy does enough damage to probably kill him first. Especially with her Furious Charge. Softening him up. But she might take him out straight with her Furious Charge, with that rank 4 anti-infantry. Whoa, man. Yeah, go for it. Silverhelm gets something. There we go. So that was a Lilith game. That was a brutal matchup. Yeah, Darkstrider is a tough call because you saw how much damage he took on his friendly attacks. Getting extra attacks is not necessarily better in that campaign. We got it. We finished it. We've covered all the points I wanted to. It's gotten late, but not too bad. I'm going to go ahead and upload this and post it, and then that's it. Going to be a minute. See you again soon.